Yo, what is up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 2 battle of the IBL D-League. We are going up against Sohan, aka OPJellicent, and his just ridiculously scary broken team. No team builder this week because two reasons. Firstly, I just don't have the time. Like, I have done 2 draft streams this weekend and I have a ton of videos to upload, a ton to record, like I think about 4 or 5 uploads to do in this week, and so yeah, I just don't have the time for a team builder. I will quickly go over the team before we get into the battle, but secondly, if my voice sounds kind of shot, it's because, like I mentioned earlier, I did 2 draft streams this weekend, as well as doing a hour-long power rankings for the PTL. So yeah, I'm probably going to sound like shit for this entire video, but hey, it's a Monday, I've got to get this video up. So firstly, we're going to go through the team. We've got Victini, Choice Scarf, Modest with Blue Flare, Psychic, U-Turn and Trick, a little bit of bulk and enough speed to outspeed, I believe, a timid Goodra with max speed. Don't expect that to come. I expect a bulky Goodra by all means, but you're going to be too careful. So yeah, that's Victini. Next up, we've got Aerodactyl with Unnerve, because I expect him to be running either a Yachi Berry on Landorus or a Charty Berry on his Thundurus. And Unnerve will be really nice because it's one of those things you can occasionally miss. So yeah, Stone Edge, Fly, Ice Fang and Hone Claws. In hindsight, Earthquake probably would have been really nice to bring flat and Polion, especially with the Unnerve, meaning that he couldn't actually use his Shucker, but I'm kind of lacking this free space for Earthquake on this set. So unfortunately, it's either have the setup and have the opportunity to just kind of win the game with Aerodactyl, or running that 4th coverage move. Again, in hindsight, maybe that Earthquake would have been really nice, but it is what it is. Running Jolly Nature with enough speed to outspeed what I expect his speed creep, I think it is, of Weavile on my next fastest mon. That's not Hawlucha. Actually, it could be to outspeed that Hawlucha as well. Yeah, so I expect him to be running just enough speed on his Weavile to outspeed a Jolly Hawlucha. So I'm running enough speed to outspeed that speed creep. The rest is going to go into physical defense just to be able to live an Ice Shard a little bit nicer from that Weavile. Next up, we've got Mega Aggron, running Heavy Slam, Thunder Punch, Curse and Stealth Rock, mixed kind of bulk, more on the special side. It's kind of my check to everything. His special threats are absolutely terrifying, but Mega Aggron does take a hit fairly well. It also forces a couple of switches. Things like Weavile aren't going to want to stay in, which gives me a chance to use Curse and hit whatever he wants to bring in really hard. There's not anything that can OHKO Mega Aggron on his team, so Heavy Slam, Thunder Punch gives me as good a coverage as I'm going to get, and after a Curse is doing a lot of damage, especially to that Thundurus. Like, Thundurus is a major issue, and I've had it switched in a few times on me and in the past when I've had Mega Steelix. So I wouldn't be surprised if it gets switched in, and a +1 Heavy Slam I'm fairly sure is going to OHKO after Rocks. But for the fact I don't have Rocks if Aggron doesn't set them up. So Hawlucha is kind of a standard Hawlucha, Grassy Seed with High Jump Kick, Acrobatics, Stone Edge and Swords Dance. If I get the opportunity to, then after a Swords Dance it does just kind of run through his team. Landorus is a bit annoying. It definitely could check this set to an extent, but if I get a Swords Dance up, 1 Intimidate won't be enough to save it from a High Jump Kick or an Acrobatics. Still going to do a very good chunk to it. Running an Adamant Nature with enough speed, I believe, to outspeed its base speed creep of a base 100 before using its Unburden boost. Adamant with a reasonable amount of attack and enough defense that I think I can live 2 Ice Shards, I want to say, after the Grassy Seed boost. Next up, we've got Silverly, running Silverly Fairy this week with Flamethrower, Toxic, Parting Shot and Defog. in hindsight, Toxic was kind of pointless because, spoiler, I don't actually use it at all in this battle, but it is there for Goodra because I couldn't really touch it otherwise. And Goodra and a potential Regenerator Ridiculous were really kind of scary to my team. So I felt like Toxic was a potentially like a must bring. In the battle, Thunderbolt might have been nicer. Flamethrower again, it's just one of those moves like it was either Thunderbolt or Flamethrower, and I couldn't really. I really wanted to hit that Landorus and the Weavile for super effective damage. So yeah, not to mention I think during prep I thought he had Thunderous T, and I was thinking Volt Absorb, it just makes like it's so many immunities to that Thunderbolt that Flamethrower is just a safer pick. I am mostly physically bulky, a little bit of speed just to make sure I don't get speed crapped, but most of it has gone into physical defense. It's my best switching to both Weavile and Mega Lopunny. I don't really have many on my team because Weavile just destroys half my team. Literally 6 mons on my team are weak to it stabs. So yeah, I needed Silvery Fairy this week, just be a decent check to both of those two, and it can pivot out quite nicely around his team as well. Last up we have got Tapu Bulu, Life Orb with Woodhammer, Horn Leech, Nature's Madness and Stone Edge. Enough speed to outspeed a uninvested Goodra, a ton of bulk and enough attack to really kind of just do as much damage as it needs to do. I think I EV'd it so it gets the 2-hit KO or the Yoko on everything it needs to. So yeah, that's the team, and looking at this matchup I was unsure into what his lead might actually be. If it's a Scarf Landorus, then that's obviously a possibility. He may lead off with Empoleon, wanting to get his rocks up early. He could just lead off with Goodra, knowing it's such a good wall against my team. And there's also a chance he might lead with Weavile, but I felt going into this battle that potentially it wasn't the best kind of lead for him, unless there was a reason why he was leading with it. If he expected my Victini and didn't think I was going to be Choice Scarf, then it absolutely makes sense. It might scare me out, and Pursuit Trapping is a major issue for Victini in this matchup. Also, I'm going to preface this battle by saying, and it's not like any kind of excuse or anything, but I got very distracted in this battle and I didn't do any of my calcs, which certainly hindered me in the long run. I was watching NXT TakeOver with Verd, Brandon and Paul, so I was kind of like half paying attention to that, and every time that they would shout that something happened, I'd be like, oh, what happened, and would kind of lose where I was in the battle. So there's quite a few times, I know if you watch Sohan's perspective, where I take forever making a turn, and it's not because I'm calcing, it's because I've been distracted. And that sounds really bad, but for sure never going to play another battle whilst watching wrestling with those guys, because it's just so distracting. But yeah, regardless, I'm going to lead off with Victini. It's not too bad a lead, it is my Choice Scarfmon, and if he leads with anything but Weavile, then I'm in a good position. And yeah, I'm just really hoping I don't see this Weavile, and I don't know what this is when I see it, and unfortunately he does leave the Weavile, the worst possible lead that I could have. And I'm going to explain my play here. So I think it's fairly obvious. If I switch out, Pursuit is going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. If he goes for Knockoff, then U-Turn is the better play, but at the same time I don't know what item he is. If he's just like a standard Life Orb set and doesn't expect me to be Scarfed, then Blue Flare is my best play because it's going to kill it. And yeah, I can kind of play around. If he wants to switch it out, then Blue Flare is doing a reasonable amount of damage to anything that's not named Goodra in this matchup. So I decided it's probably best, and again, like, I didn't do the calcs, and had I done a calc, then maybe it would have changed what I did here. I just clicked Blue Flare, and as you see, he stays in, and I think, oh great, it's going to pick up the KO. Sadly, he is Focus Sash, and instead of going for Pursuit, he actually goes for a Knockoff. And I thought I was a dead Victini, but I actually live on 1 HP. I've got my own Focus Sash. I don't need an item. Victini just has his own Focus Sash. And then I'm going to switch out. Like, it didn't matter what I did there. If I went for an attack and then he killed me with Pursuit regardless, because he outspeeds now. I've had my Choice Scarf knock stop, and if I was to switch out and he goes for Pursuit, then he kills me. But on the off chance he didn't go for Pursuit, then switching out was the better play, because it does preserve my Victini for a little bit later on, albeit it's not the best mon to have because 2 of his mons now resist it and the other things outspeed it. So it's only really good for the Landorus as long as that isn't Choice Scarf. Potentially just sacking it off there would have been an option, but I felt like I still had to safe switch into my designated Weavile check being Silverly Fairy. I know you can get Poison Jab, but I wasn't too worried about it. Like, it's a focus slash set. I'm fairly confident that I won't get 2-hit KO'd by Poison Jab, but at the same time it's always a safe switch for him to go into Empoleon, and this is kind of like the whole way the battle went, which is I struggled to take down Empoleon, I struggled to take down Goodra, and I knew that was going to be the case because his team is just like, he has 2 walls that really just wall my team perfectly between the 2 of them. And yeah, my biggest threat as Mid actually disconnects whilst recording my video for like the 2nd time. He mentioned this on Discord, and that blue flare is going to do nothing as he switches into Goodra. I go for the trick here because if he's running like some kind of Choice Specs or Life Orb or something, taking away that extra damage is really nice. As it turns out, he is Assault Vest, and that doesn't really benefit me at all, like taking that item off, because the only special attacker I got left is Silverly, and Silverly has nothing that's going to touch it anyway, and I don't think he's going to want to stay in, just in case I have that multi-attack. It's going to hurt his Goodra, and he has a safe switch in every single time to Empoleon. But since he has such a safe switch in, I'm going to just Parting Shot every time I have the opportunity with Silverly, and it's always going to give me a good opportunity to go into something that's going to do some damage. And I go out into my Tapu Bulu. I see this as a good time to try and get some damage off. If he wants to stay in and take a Nature's Madness, then that's fine, and I fully expect him to switch out into his Goodra. That's like his designated check, as he does, and Nature's Madness is going to do a solid amount with that little bit of chip. Means that it's going to be under half before the grassy terrain comes into effect, which is fantastic for me. It actually puts it in range, most likely, of a Stone Edge or 2 Stone Edges. So Stone Edge is like 40%, I think I count, and yeah, Goodra is kind of being slowly whittled down. It's the best way I can do it. I go out into my Mega Aggron because I know at this point it's not Mega Evolved. It's going to take its Flamethrower just fine as it's neutral, and then I can Mega Evolve and still going to take a Flamethrower fine thanks to Filter. So I expect him to switch out, and I'm going to go for a Curse. Like I said earlier, when I predict the switch, I can go for a Curse and then I can do a lot of damage. He goes out into his Empoleon, and at this point if I had Earthquake, then it would have probably just OHKO'd. But Thunder Punch is also like pretty solid. After a Curse, I'm looking at it, and even if it's physically defensive, it is a chance to 2-hit KO, I believe, even with the grassy terrain up. So Mega Aggron in a really nice spot, albeit Scald. If it burns me, that's really unfortunate. As he just actually sets up his rocks, and I was surprised he set up his rocks because Earthquake would have just done so much damage. I think it is Shucker. I think that's what set it was in the end, and he didn't expect the Thunder Punch. But as you can see by that damage, Thunder Punch just does so much. And here I make a misplay, so I don't expect him to want his Empoleon to go down because it's such a free switch in to my Silverly, and it can keep setting up Stealth Rocks on my Silverly as well, so should I choose to defog them away. He also has a perfectly good switch in if he's expecting that Thunder Punch in Landorus, so I'm going to click Heavy Slam, because Heavy Slam hits everything but this Empoleon for really good damage, especially at +1. It's going to do a lot, but sadly he just saves in, I'm guessing, to sack off his Empoleon, hope for a Skull Burn, because if he gets a Skull Burn, then he 100% is just living the Thunder Punch. But unfortunately this now puts him in Torrent range, and I want to keep my Aggron as healthy as I can. I don't really want to take another Scald. On the off chance he gets the burn, then Thunder Punch may still not do enough damage. So I got into my Silverly, and as you can see, this is doing just so much damage. I am physically defensive, so it's not surprising. But at this point, I just feel it's better to get the damage, put it in range of another Thunder Punch. So he actually goes for Stealth Rock. He expects me to defog away, so that's a good play on his part because it keeps the rocks up regardless. And now he can come in with anything on his team and just pick up that KO on my Silverly as he chooses to go out into his Thunderous Incarnate. And I didn't want him to Nasty Plot. Nasty Plot would have been the worst thing that could happen to me. So I click Parting Shot. The rocks are here to stay, as he actually just decides to kill me off. Not surprised at all because he wants those rocks to stay. He doesn't have his Empoleon anymore. And I go into my Aerodactyl and it shows the Unnerve, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's not going to stay in. But regardless, my best play is to click Stone Edge. And as he actually decides to go out into his Mega Lopunny, I was expecting Landorus to come in. I thought Landorus was probably his best switch, and that's going to take like a solid 75%. But sadly, I do not have a good switch in to Mega Lopunny at this point. My Silverly has gone down. It got way too worn down by that Scald anyway. So had I chosen to save it, it still got killed by a return. And I'm partially hoping that he just overpredicts and goes for like an Ice Punch because it's good against the rest of my team, barring this Mega Aggron. But he makes the correct play. He goes for the high jump kick, and like not wishing for hacks. The only way I would be able to taken this Lopunny down with Aggron is if he missed. Like Aggron was kind of, I was happy for it to be sacked off at that point. It's done its job, but I go out to my Tapu Bulu. It's got so much bulk that it takes a return, absolutely no problem. It takes the Ice Punch, no problem. And I don't expect him to want to stay in. He has that Goodra still. So I'm going to click Stone Edge. And as you're going to see, because of the damage I did earlier with Nature's Madness, Stone Edge is absolutely a 2-hit KO, even with the Grassy Terrain. And yeah, to be able to kill Goodra with a thing that's meant to be, it's meant to check, felt very, very nice. The crit I don't think mattered at all, judging off that first roll, unless that was absolute max roll. I don't think the crit mattered at all. So yeah, Tapu Bulu picks up that KO, and he just goes straight back out into his Thunderous. And I'm expecting the Sludge Wave, and the only thing I can really switch into reliably on a Sludge Wave is my Aerodactyl. And as you're going to see, after rocks and Sludge Wave damage, which I knew wouldn't kill me, I have a fairly solid special attack, special defense stat, and I do resist it. It means that I'm in a good place, and I probably should have paused before I use that. As you can see, I go for Ice Fang, and because I had shown the Unnerve, he knew his Charty Berry, if he had it, was kind of useless. I was expecting him to go out into his Landorus, and it seemed like a very obvious play, so I tried to make that prediction. I am a little bit behind in terms of like trying to get a word for it. I'm behind the 8 ball, so I need to really kind of make these predictions to try and swing the battle in my favour. But my play the first time, where I went for Stone Edge, was the correct play to go for again, because Stone Edge 100% killed as long as it connected, and Ice Fang, Stone Edge into Ice Fang, I think did do enough to Landorus to be able to kill it. Even with that Yachi, because of my nerve, it just didn't matter. But I didn't stick to what I should have done, and as you're gonna see, I go for the Ice Fang, he stays in, and unfortunately it's not going to do anywhere near enough damage, and Thunderbolt is just going to take out my Aerodactyl. Completely over predicted on my own part there. Like, Stone Edge was 100% my play, and because of it I pay with my Aerodactyl's life. And I go out into my Hawlucha. At this point, I've only got one option. I've got to click Stone Edge and hope that it's not Charty. From the range it's at, even with a Charty Berry, there's a good chance that it still KOs with Stone Edge, but I'm certainly not in a good position. The Landorus, at this point, is looking pretty scary. The Weavile can come in, and between Weavile and Lopunny, the priority, it can do a pretty solid amount of damage, to the point where Landorus can then just pick it off. And of course, having Tapu Bulu, if he is running special set, like I kind of expected him to, because why run a Lando with against a grassy terrain team unless you're running special. Certainly I felt like Lando was just kind of going to sweep up the rest of the game. It was a matter of just lowering differential, and sadly I do actually miss a Stone Edge. I hit 3 in this game, so I can't be too mad, but that one certainly sucked because it would have lowered the differential. At least it would have got down to a 3-0, maybe a 2-0 depending on how he played it. I don't think a Psychic from his Landorus would have done enough damage to actually KO me, but at the same time there was nothing I could do in return. So yeah, unfortunately we're just going to go down, and he's going to go for the Sludge Wave on my Tapu Bulu, and that's going to be game. So good game to Sohan. He played it really well. Certainly some places in which I could have played it better, but I was constantly on the back foot from that first turn. I was lucky to have lived on 1, but yeah, like that prediction that I was going to lead with Victini really kind of won him the game, because Victini would have been really nice to have on that last bit of last passage of play. Having a Choice Scarfer when he didn't have any of his walls to protect him against it would have meant that actually Victini could have just like swept up late game. Between Holucia and Victini, I think it would have won at the end had I had it at full health, but it was hard to predict. Like, had I done a calc and seen that Pursuit wouldn't have killed me, then 100% I would have gone for U-turn, got out to my Aggron, and it would have played out very differently. But yeah, good game again to Sohan. He goes to 2-0, I believe, +7, and I am down to 1-1. My differential from that first game against Sork has just been completely wiped out. I am now 1-1 ±0. Like, I have a neutral goal difference, I want to say, neutral differential, and that kind of sucks. But you know, we can bounce back. We face mid, and we always beat mid. So week 3 against mid is going to be an interesting one. He's got a really good team. He is also 2-0 going into week 3. So he's on a roll. We're less so on a roll, I guess. And yeah, we're going to see, because I have like 3 battles to play between the other leagues before like mid game. So there's a lot of prep going on. I tend to forget which team is which. Like I go look at the PMC rosters, and I'm like, okay, well, Tapu Bulu is really good against this, Victini is really good against this, and then realise that actually, you know what, that's IBL D-League. It's a completely different team, so I get a little bit confused between the 2 leagues. Anyway, I'm rambling. I always do at the end of my videos. If you did like, please leave a like, comment below, subscribe, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. It's a free world. And yeah, have a great day. I will see you guys in the next video. Week 3 against mid. Hopefully there'll be a team builder. Peace.